Hey guys, today I'm going to show you how to import Google Sheets data in your Microsoft Access database, and it's a lot easier than you might expect. So I have a data set here of Google Sheets, and what I want to do is first publish this to the web. Now, if you can't publish this to the web like I'm doing right here, let me know in the comments, and I'll provide you with some examples that you can use the Google API to retrieve your data without having to publish it to the public. But for this case, when we publish it to the web, we want to make sure it's a comma separated value or it's a CSV. And then you have a URL right here. And so you want to copy this, test this in a browser where you're not logged into Google just to make sure that it works, make sure it's public. You don't have to do this, but I just like to be sure. So you can see right here, yep, I went ahead and downloaded. So we have the data set there. So now let's go back to Microsoft Access. What we want to do is have a button that will generate some kind of trigger that will retrieve our data from Google Sheets. And so you can add a button, you can do it on load. There's lots of ways you can do this. I'm just going to keep it simple and use a button though. And you can just hit cancel right here. We're going to do this our own way. We're going to use some VBA code though. We're also going to use PowerShell. It's much easier. Let's go ahead and move it over here. We can give this a label title and way less code actually than using all VBA. I think you'll find that it's a bit easier. And let's set this up for VBA on click. So when we click on the button, it'll actually trigger something to retrieve the data from Google Sheets. All right, let's minimize that. Let's create a really quick PowerShell script here. And we're going to put in that URL that we just got from Google Sheets there. But we're going to use PowerShell to retrieve that. And we're going to call PowerShell from Microsoft Access. So that's how it's going to work. Now, this isn't that complicated. You can just see here, I'm just doing a web request here. I'm going to put in that URL that we just had from Google Sheets, and I'm going to end this here. We're going to make sure that it's saved as googlesheet.csv. So when I'm done here, I just want to save this as a .ps1 file for PowerShell. And make sure you change the as type to all files. And let's just give this a name. And we're going to import this, like I said, to Microsoft Access with our VBA script. Go ahead and hit save. Now, if you want to test this, we can totally do that too before we run it in Microsoft Access. Let's just test it to make sure that it works. Let me get rid of that old text file that I used to make that. Typically, you can just run with PowerShell. You can use that command. It's pretty simple. It's generating, which is a good sign. And looks like we had that Google Sheet.csv right there. Let's open that. And this looks like the data that we had in Google Sheets. That's great. Let's enlarge it. Perfect. We can be done with that. Let's go back to Microsoft Access here. All right, one thing we want to do is check that Command 12 is actually the name of our button. If these don't match up, we're going to get an error. Also, don't mess with end sub either. But let's go ahead. Let's check the button name here. And it should be the same. It should, yep, looks like Command 12 right there. You can change it if you need to, but let's leave it. Let's go back to our code here. And I'm going to give you some code in the video description. Go ahead and pop that in right here. But right here is the PowerShell script. Right here is the Google Sheet.csv file. And then we're going to name the table name Google Sheets. You can call that whatever you want though. We're going to run that PowerShell script right here, as you can see. And then right here, we're importing the CSV into Microsoft Access. And right here is just a message box that tells us that everything downloaded, imported successfully. And then finally, we also get a message if there's an error and gives us more information about it. So let's give this a try. Let's click on Get Data. Let's wait a second. We got that message. It looks like it downloaded successfully. Let's take a look at our data and make sure it's actually what we want. Looks good to me. And now it looks like that's it. That's everything. Well, that should wrap things up. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching and subscribing, and take care.